seeing clearly from blurred vision to true sight. Have you noticed how beautiful the days have been lately? Blue skies, sunshine, wonderful views. On days like this, I love looking at the mountains. My favorite part of Vancouver. I really love the Rocky Mountains. From my home and from VST, we can see them very clearly when the days are bright like today. But have you also noticed the fog we had last week? I don't know here in downtown, but at UBC, the fog was huge last week. The fog was so huge that I felt that I was in a movie, probably in a horror movie, but it was huge. And the most striking moment for me was when I realized that the tall building next to my house had simply disappeared into the fog. I mean, it was still there, of course, but I could no longer see it. And that made me think about something very important. The problem was not my eyesight, the problem was the circumstances. My eyes were working perfectly, but something around me was distorting reality. And the same thing happens very often in our spiritual life. Many times we are not blind, but we are not seeing clearly either. Circumstances confuse us, emotions distort us, comparisons deceive us, noise distract us. And without realizing it, we begin to see life, people, and even ourselves in a distorted way. Just the video that we just watched says. The text we are reading today is one of the strangest and at the same time one of the deepest in the Gospel of Mark. It's the only time Jesus heals someone in two stages. First, the man begins to see, but he sees people like trees walking around. Only later does he begin to see clearly. And Mark did not record this story by accident, because this text is not only about physical miracle, it is about how our spiritual vision is restored. And today, in our walk with Jesus, we will learn three important things: that vision is restored outside the noise, that partial noise creates confusion, and the restoration of vision is a process. So, going to the first step, we see clearly only outside the noise. In my hometown in Brazil, a new restaurant had opened. The place was large and impressive from the outside. A couple of friends invite Luciana and me to have lunch there with them. But I have to tell you, I had never seen a restaurant so crowded in my entire life. There was a long line to park, a long line to enter, and a long line to get a table. Thankfully, we had reservation that day. It was very hot and noisy inside. The waiters were doing their best, but there were simply too many people. They could not keep up. In short, a traumatic experience. So much noise, so many people. But curiously, 2 weeks later, our home church organized a couple's dinner in that same restaurant. And based on my previous experience, I was already anxious just knowing we were going back there. But to my surprise, the restaurant was almost empty. Few people, many tables available, no lines, no heat, no noise. The experience was wonderful. We were able to talk peacefully and truly enjoy the food. The same place, but different conditions. That made me ask a question. How much do noise and crowds prevent us from enjoying certain things? How much do distractions and voices around us steal the depth of certain experience? Jesus knew this very well. He often withdrew from the crowds to seek silence, solitude, and communion with the Father. And here, faced with a blind man and an urgent request for healing, Jesus' first action is not to heal, is not to teach, is not to explain. Mark tells us something very beautiful. The first action Jesus took the blind man by the hand and led him outside the village. Before restoring that man's sight, Jesus first takes him out of the crowd. He removes him from the noise. He leads him to a place of silence. Jesus wants to teach something here, especially to his disciples. Restored vision and noise do not go together. Restored vision and noise do not go together. This is not only about physical silence, it is about creating inner space in order to see clearly. Jesus is not merely seeking a quiet environment, he is teaching how spiritual vision is restored. Today, in our extremely busy lives, perhaps the loudest noises are not crowds, but much more subtle things. Phone notifications, messages arriving constantly, the constant need to stay connected, solving problems without stopping, responding to everything immediately, and without realizing it. These voices occupy so much space that we can no longer hear what Jesus is saying to us. Which voices today are disturbing our vision? Which distractions are stealing the joy of Jesus' companionship? Perhaps before healing our vision, Jesus first wants to do exactly what he did with that man, to take his by hand and lead us a little way from the crowd, a little way from the noise. We see clearly only outside the noise. Second step, partial vision creates confusion. A young man from our church in Brazil was unhappy with his profession. He worked in a factory and was studying technology. But his true gift and dream was to become a video maker. And by God's grace, that dream came true. In an unlikely way, a very famous YouTuber in Brazil discovered his work and invited him to join his team. It was exactly what he had always wanted. But one day, the same guy asked to talk with me. He was sad. He wasn't happy. And he said something like this: This week, my boss and some others went to Miami. They travel often to incredible and very expensive places. Since my job is editing, I don't have much money. I never get to go. It seems like I will never be able to live the life they live. It's very sad. So I began to remind him of who he used to be, how unhappy he had been in his former profession, how God had blessed him with the job he had always dreamed of, how now he worked with someone admired and well known. Then he realized something very important. Comparison was preventing him from seeing clearly what God had done for him. A distorted vision was overshadowing a great blessing. He was seeing people like trees. And this does not happen only to him or to these women that we saw in the video. Many people today see life without hope, the future with fear, and themselves marked by guilt or comparison. They are not completely blind, but they are not seeing clearly either. And this is what Mark teaches us here. Partial vision creates confusion. Seeing people like trees brings many problems into our lives. Sometimes we have conflicts in our marriage because we are seeing our spouse like a tree. We see only conflicts and failures and we stop seeing a gift from God. Sometimes we complain about our children because we see only the work they give us and we stop seeing the gift God placed in their lives. Sometimes we even look at the church and instead of seeing brothers and sisters in Christ, we label people by behavior, opinion, and posture. This happens when people become trees to us. And so we learned something very important. It's not only blindness that paralyzes, distorted vision also makes us stumble along the way. What distorted vision are we carrying today? Which people are we seeing as trees today? What reality has God already transformed, but we still cannot see? Because while our vision remains partial, our walk will be confused. Partial vision creates confusion. And our third step, seeing clearly is a process. Seeing clearly is a process. Jesus could have healed that man in a single moment, but he chose to act in stages. And why? Was he lacking power? Did he make a mistake the first time? Did he misunderstood how much power he would have to put in this miracle? Of course not. So why Jesus do that? Here we need to go a little deeper into the intention of the Gospel of Mark. It is not an exaggeration to say that this passage stands at the very center of the Gospel. It's a turning point, a page turning, a decisive transition in the history. Notice what happens just before this miracle. Jesus multiplies the bread a second time, the beginning of chapter 8. The Pharisees ask for a sign from heaven, blind to the signs they have already seen from Jesus. But in the boat, the disciples worry about not having bread, even after witnessing the miracle of Jesus multiplying the bread. And Jesus warns them about the yeast of the Pharisees. And then he asks a hard question. Do you have eyes but fail to see? Jesus asked that to his disciples. Do you still not understand? And immediately after that, the blind man from Bethsaida appears. What is Mark's point here? The point is the disciples are these blind men. The Pharisees are completely blind, but the disciples also do not see clearly. They see the miracles, they hear the teachings, they walk with Jesus, but they still do not clearly see who Jesus is and what is his mission truly is. They are seeing people like trees. And here is where the process of restoring vision begins. From this very moment on, Jesus begins to speak clearly about the cross. Three times until chapter 10, he will say that his path leads through suffering, rejection, and death. Because the disciples' vision still needs to be healed. And this teaches us something very precious. God respects our processes. Restoration is not always immediate. Spiritual maturity happens along the way. Seeing clearly does not happen overnight. It requires walking with Jesus. And here's a liberating truth. The problem is not being in process. The problem is giving up in the middle of it. The problem is not seeing people like trees. The problem is pretending that we are seen perfectly. The problem is pointing at others as blind while we ourselves are still confusing people with trees. And today, Jesus makes us the same invitation he made to that man, the invitation to walk, to learn, to be discipled. As we walk with Jesus, our vision will be restored little by little. The question is simple and profound. Are we willing? Are we willing to leave behind our own lenses on and allow the mind of Christ to shape our vision? Because full vision does not come in a single touch. It comes through a walk with Jesus. Coming to the conclusion, seeing clearly is not only about seeing perfectly, but about learning to see as God sees. You can go to the next. It is allowing the Lord to heal not only our eyes, but also our hearts, our emotions, and our perspectives. Jesus wants to do a work in us, but for that, we must step out of the noise. Recognize that our vision is not always clear. Admit that many times we do confuse people with trees, and be willing to walk with Him in the process of restoration. Because full vision is not born in an instant, it's born in a walk with Jesus. Let us be restored completely by Jesus.